As the economy emerges from the pandemic, concerns about a debt hangover like the one that followed the financial crisis are proliferating. But with American household balance sheets the strongest in decades, we see little chance of a consumer debt hangover interrupting the current expansion anytime soon. The closer one looks at both the household and national balance sheets, the more one gets the sense that this concern is somewhat overblown and misses the improvement in household wealth, however inequitably distributed, over the past few decades and its ability to finance public debt and improvements to the nation's infrastructure. Focusing on the ratio of debt to household wealth, as opposed to the far less useful debt to GDP ratio, elicits a different, more constructive and encouraging outlook. In addition, this measure implies that the American economy has far more fiscal space than has traditionally been acknowledged, which contributes to the national conversation on addressing long-neglected infrastructure and social needs. Household wealth and debt consumer credit as a percentage of gross domestic product, which is the customary way to look at household debt, has been in decline since the 2008-09 financial crisis, falling from 98% in 2008 to 74% in the months before the pandemic. But perhaps a better way to view the accumulation of household debt is to measure it relative to household wealth. Debt as a ratio of net worth is a measure of the ability of households to support the debt they have taken on. As our analysis shows, household debt as a percentage of household net worth has moderated across the post-war decades as wealth accumulation became accessible to the middle class through higher wages, government mortgage programs and tax benefits. Household debt as a percentage of net worth declined from 19.4% in the 1950s to 4.3% in 2009. In the decades since the 2008-09 financial crisis, the four-quarter average of the ratio of household debt to net worth increased from 4.4% to 7.75% in the first quarter of 2021, which by itself might cause some consternation. But in the context of increased costs of education and housing, both of which are investments in household capital, a ratio of debt to net worth of less than 8% is still well below historical levels of debt. It is also important to note that the peculiar demographics of the United States require an increase in medical care and allocation of capital to support the retirement of the baby boomers. In addition, household debt has increased by 24% in nominal terms compared to the second quarter of 2012, when household debt resumed its growth after the Great Recession. But during the same period, household net worth has increased by 78%. While we are cognizant of distributional concerns, this implies that both the household and national financial position is far better off than generally understood. That suggests that households today are able to support current levels of debt,